Right friends, welcome back to today's news of the day, and from today there is a slight change. In this news of the day, we are going to discuss 10 questions in view of preliminary civil services examination in June, and from today onwards news of the focus, important news events will be discussed in brief. Subsequently 10 questions will be discussed, and this will continue till civil services preliminary examination. And as I have already promised, the regular sessions pertaining to civil services preliminary will start from May 1, and this 10 questions will be there from now onwards right up to the civil services preliminary examination. So, this will be into two parts. The first part is news of the day. This will be for around 10 to 15 minutes, followed by 10 minutes, that is you can say dossier for civil services preliminary 2017. News of the day: US joins Syrian war, bombs base Syria. So, we are going to deliberate in detail in the news analysis today because of the editorial in the Hindu. Here Syria, there were allegations that Bashar al-Assad government resorted to the chemical weapons attack in one of the rebel held towns, and subsequently United States of America resorted to missile attack on Syria. And the point here is this may infuriate the relations, or you can say this may strain the relations between Russia and United States of America. The second one is Delhi Dhaka agree on 22 deals. This is yesterday's news item, and here 22 agreements were signed, and if you want frankly, nothing much came out of the visit. Most important aspect is Teesta water deal, but the West Bengal Chief Minister has not agreed for Teesta water deal, and basically to counteract the economic might of China, India came up with lines of credit, and one such deal is $500 million with regard to purchase of defense hardware, $500 million for purchase of defense hardware. Second one is India offered, in addition to that $500 million, $4.5 billion of line of credit. Line of credit means the limit is $4.5 billion. If Bangladesh want for its infrastructure projects, it can take some sort of loan from India. So, the limit is $4.5 billion. So, line of credit means the credit limit given, and if borrower uses that, then they have to pay interest on that, right. So, line of credit of $4.5 billion is announced, and this is Bangladesh. It has got border with 5 states in our country. Then elephant census are going to be held, and after 5 years the elephant population in our country is around 30,000, right. Then India-Mongolia cross swords, this is with regard to the joint military exercises. The name of the joint military exercises between India-Mongolia are known as nomadic elephant. Mongolia, please look into this picture. Mongolia has got border with only 2 countries, on one side Russia and the other side China, and please do not forget, recently the relations between China and Mongolia strained, and the reason is Dalai Lama visited Mongolia. As Dalai Lama visited Mongolia, China got infuriated and it imposed some sort of transit sanctions on Mongolia, right. Look into the next one. The lowdown on sharing Teesta waters. Teesta waters, the history, what is the problem, and strategically why this deal is required from Indian perspective. This I am going to present as a separate capsule, and in fact the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, has not agreed for the Teesta deal. The basic problem with the Teesta river is the lean water flows are too less. During rainy season there is no problem, but from October to May the lean flows are not that significant, and in those periods of the year both Bangladesh as well as India, specifically West Bengal, require water. But the main problem here is lean water flows are too less, right. Then look into the next one. 8 die as violence hits Srinagar by-election. The most important aspect here is this Srinagar by-election was held and the voter turnout was just around 7%. This is the lowest during the past 3 decades, and something went wrong from the mid of 2016. Immediately the state government and the central government must take corrective action, and 7% poll in the by-election is too low and it requires immediate attention from both center and state government, right. Then 44 killed as IS targets 2 Egyptian churches, and this is Egypt. Egypt was also affected by Arab Spring. Because of Arab Spring, Hosni Mubarak, 3-decade-old dictator, was thrown out somewhere around 2011 or so. Hosni Mubarak, who ruled the country for around 30 years from 1981 to 2011, was thrown out, and subsequently here things could not be stabilized to the extent as expected, and things stabilized only in this small country Tunisia after Arab Spring. Only things stabilized in Tunisia, and several countries are into crisis. Of course, the degree of crisis varies. It varies from civil war in countries like Yemen, Syria, then Iraq. At the same time, Libya is into crisis, this adjacent Libya. It is already with the 2 governments, and Egypt is also not in satisfactory position. In Egypt, the Islamic State attacked 2 churches. That is the news item. And when somebody is talking about Egypt, please don't forget the Suez Canal. Suez Canal connects Mediterranean with the Red Sea. Through the ships travel through this route. This is Suez Canal route, and Mediterranean through Red Sea, and this is Bab el Mandeb. This is Bab el Mandeb. So through Bab el Mandeb, ships take this Red Sea route. So Egypt is very much important strategically also, but things are deteriorating in Egypt. Then India-China Navy's rescue cargo ship. Few days ago, I told this country Somalia. Somalia is famous for piracy. Piracy means stealing of the ships. Somalia is quite notorious. On the Somalian coast, these type of incidents happen in the world. So recently, India and China rescued one cargo ship. More than that, please understand, this Somalia has got long coastline of Indian Ocean. At the same time, this occurred in this Gulf of Aden, and this is through this Gulf of Aden, through this Bab el Mandeb, I have already told you. So this is the route through Suez Canal to Mediterranean. So these things, geography part, please learn. And here this is the Strait of Hormuz. We have already learned 3 important straits. Strait of Hormuz, this is Bab el Mandeb, and at the same time Strait of Malacca. These things please don't forget. So this piracy case occurred near, or you can say in the Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden is this, right. So please understand certain aspects of geography also. Election Commission cancels RK Nagar by poll. Now this indicates the money power in the elections. Something needs to be done. Here this RK Nagar constituency in the metropolitan area of Chennai became vacant subsequent to the demise of J. Jayalalitha. Now election is going to be held, and the 2 factions of AIADMK are competing for winning this, and there are news reports that money power has reached almost 100 crores. under these circumstances, election commission cancelled RK Nagar by poll. Right? Look into the next one. States pawn politicization of governor's role. There was discussion with regard to the role of governors, and yesterday one meeting was held, and this is talking about interstate council. I would like to tell you what is meant by interstate council. Interstate council is the constitutional body, please understand. Interstate council is the constitutional body to facilitate coordination between states and the center, and this is as per article 263 of the constitution. And as per article 263 of the Constitution of India, this interstate council, so this Constitution of India article 263 says that interstate council, if at any time it appears to the president that the public interest would be best served, that means when disputes are there between the states or disputes are there between the states and the union, then this Constitution of India can be established. Please do not forget, this Constitution of India came into force in 1950, and if you look at this interstate council, this is chairman is the prime minister, and members I have given here, please go through them as far as interstate council is concerned. Is India losing its gold fetish? Here this important news item, please see. India is dependent on imports for its gold requirements. Indians hold anywhere between 20,000 tons to 40,000 tons in the houses, and gold imports every year used to be around 1000 to 950 tons. 1000 to 950 tons gold imports. If you go up to 2013, the gold imports used to be 1000 to 950 tons, and now they reduced to 676 tons in 2016. So, gold imports reduced. One reason may be the returns. You see, the returns on gold imports, in fact, in 3 years, there were negative returns in gold. If you are investing in gold, normally you expect positive returns, and 3 years, 2013, 2014, 2015, people got negative returns on holding gold. That may be one reason this gold imports reduced drastically. Only during 2016, we got 9% positive returns. India's bilateral investment pacts under clout. I think regarding this we discussed in detail some time back. Bilateral investment treaties. If some foreign investment is coming from South Africa to India, to protect their investments, bilateral investment treaty is required, and previous bilateral investment treaty the government felt was in favor of the investors. That's why government cancelled several bilateral investment treaties, and now government is coming up with model bilateral investment treaty, but this is not acceptable to several countries. And here government is incorporated under this ISDS, Investor State Dispute Settlement. Under Investor State Dispute Settlement, government insisted that before going for international arbitration, you have to look at the mechanism in our country. Before going for international arbitration, you have to look at the mechanism in our country, and that is not acceptable for the foreign investors. Under Investor State Dispute Settlement, they want foreign arbitrators, right? Next news item is this PDMA likely to be set up by 2018, and what is this PDMA? PDMA is Public Debt Management Agency. Public Debt Management Agency, PDMA, and this is going to be set up by 2018, and the crux of the matter is, so far the public debt is managed by Reserve Bank of India. When government is borrowing money under government securities, treasury bills, they are looked after by Reserve Bank of India, and in future public debt management agency will be set up which will look into these issues. So, the public debt in future, once this public debt management agency is established, that will be looked after by PDMA, but not by RBI, right. So, let us wind up the news here. Prelims 2017 discussion, I have taken 10 questions. I discussed just briefly. Today some easier questions are there. Tomorrow onwards we will try to increase the difficulty. The first question is, quite frequently we hear about open market operations. Quite frequently we hear about open market operations. What do you understand by it? Here this is part of monetary policy. It is selling and purchase of government securities. It is selling and purchase of government securities, and here the basic purpose is the availability of money in circulation will be looked at by Reserve Bank of India as part of its monetary policy. They have to strike a balance between inflation and growth, so as to make available the required money in circulation. This open market operations are intended for. Kafala system. Kafala system is the system which is in existence in some Gulf countries, and several people are going from our country to work in Gulf countries, and there the system is Kafala. In Gulf countries, our people are going mostly to take up blue collar jobs. If our people are going to America, that is to take up white collar jobs. Whereas many people going to Gulf countries are going for blue collar jobs. The jobs are just like construction workers, domestic helpers, etc. And there is a system in Gulf countries which is known as a Kafala system, where the local sponsor, he will take the passport and other things he will take, and if the persons want to change the jobs, that require the permission of the local sponsor in Gulf countries. So, this is causing lot of concern for the Indian blue collar workers in Gulf countries. So, Kafala system, please don't forget. Quite frequently we hear about coral bleaching. From May 1, when we start our discussion of prelims, we discuss all these S&T environment issues separately. From May 1 onwards, we will have detailed discussion, and this is basically intended for brief deliberation. Great Barrier Reef of Australia is affected badly. Great Barrier Reef of Australia is affected badly, and the most probable reason for the coral bleaching is climate change, the elevated sea temperatures due to climate change. So, the elevated sea temperatures due to climate change is the main reason for destruction of this coral bleaching, or you can say destruction of Great Barrier Reef, which is known as coral bleaching. I cannot say destruction of coral bleaching, it is destruction of Great Barrier Reef, which is coral bleaching. Then the introduction of goods and services tax is a classic example of cooperative federalism. Please don't forget goods and services tax, GST network, a question can be asked, GST council composition, question can be asked, and from the perspective of the manner in which GST is going to be implemented, it is example of cooperative federalism. Please don't forget this word. Then Himansh. Himansh is in the news recently. What do you understand by it? Himansh means it is the initiative, it is established at around 4,000 meters elevation or more than 13,500 feet in Spiti, S-P-I-T-I in Himachal Pradesh. Basically, this is to identify the effect of climate change on the Himalayan glaciers. In fact, Himalayan glaciers are taking care of the water needs of around 10% of the global population, or you can say 70 crore people in several countries. So, basically to look into the effect of climate change on Himalayan glaciers, this initiative is known as Himansh. It is established in Spiti, that is in Himachal Pradesh. Quite frequently we hear about organic farming. Please read the following sentences. Quite often we hear about organic farming. Basically, organic farming improves the soil health. Then here, farmers' dependence on fertilizers and agricultural chemicals will be reduced. So, farmers' dependence on fertilizers and agriculture chemicals will be reduced. And third important point is, it is eco-friendly concept of cultivation. It is eco-friendly concept of cultivation. All three are the right options. The main purpose of Setu Bharatam is Setu Bharatam, this railway level crossings on national highways, because government's policy is to eliminate railway level crossings. Either over bridges will come or underpasses will come. So, basically to eliminate railway level crossings on national highways, this is the purpose of Setu Bharatam. Look into the next one. Fund of funds scheme is normally meant for investments in startups. Government announced rupees 10,000 crore fund of funds. Fund of funds means basically that is pooled up funds. That means money will be pooled up as a fund of funds, and subsequently they will be invested in startups, basically to minimize risk, or you can say for diversification. The main purpose of this fund of funds scheme is for investments in startups. If they are directly investing in startups, if I am investing in some startup, then risk may be very high. Then what I will do? I will pool my funds with some fund of funds scheme. So, fund of funds will take care of the diversification, or you can say minimize the risk. So, if people are talking about fund of funds, please do not forget startups. Look into the next one. Which of the following is into the news as cancer causing chemical? Last year during 2016, there was lot of noise with regard to potassium bromate. Potassium bromate, which was found in the bread samples. Potassium bromate was found in the bread samples, and basically this is used in the bread, because bread, you see, it will go up when this chemical is used, and now government banned this chemical. So, this chemical is basically considered as cancer causing chemical, and previously up to 50 ppm was allowed. Previously 50 ppm was allowed. Now, based on the recommendations of FSSAI, that is food regulator, now this is banned. So, if someone is talking about this cancer causing chemical, it is potassium bromate. Quite frequently people talk about fourth industrial revolution. People are nowadays talking about fourth industrial revolution. I am not going into first revolution, second revolution, third revolution. I am looking at this fourth industrial revolution, and which of the following aptly describes the term? Out of the following: evolution of 3D printing, driverless cars, smart robotics. So, future is going to be this, and this is given the name of fourth industrial revolution, right. So, I hope you enjoyed answering these 10 questions. We will try to increase the difficulty level, and on every day you will have 10 questions at 11 o'clock news of the day discussion from today onwards. This will go on up to civil services preliminary examination, and basically it will facilitate you to revise, or you can say recollect what you have learnt during 2016. Right friends, let us wind up here. Please do join for editorial discussion at 11:30 hours. Have a nice day. Thank you.